Hi, everyone. Elizabeth Mathern from Kuck, Baxter Immigration. I am in the South Georgia office. We'll give everybody a few minutes to join. Today, we've got some pretty good immigration updates, and I'm ready to answer your questions live. So feel free to jump on, post questions. I hope everybody's having a great day. It's super hot, so I hope you're staying cool with your family and your loved ones. I know we are very grateful for those that are out working in the heat today, keeping this country running. So, all right, today I will be talking about a new Attorney General decision that restores more power to immigration judges, which is a good thing, I guess. That's our overall assessment. It's funny because in the jurisdictions we mostly work in, the denial rates are so high that, I don't know, we feel like the deck is stacked against us a lot. But under the Trump administration, a lot of power, even though immigration judges have limited power, a lot of that power was eroded. So we're seeing the current Attorney General restore some of that discretionary power and not forcing them to do things that are weird and counterintuitive. I'm also going to talk about the budget reconciliation process and the immigration reform that we're hoping is going to be slid in there. I want to update you on the what I know about the process just from reading and keeping up with the times. I also want to go over some news on TPS. We've got some good news that I feel like slid through the radar. I didn't see it really on any major news media outlets. Also, USCIS conducted a second H-1B drawing, or what's it called, random selection, that I don't think business practitioners were expecting. And let's see, we'll also talk about the Title 42. The Biden administration utilizing Title 42 to use the expedited removal process for families trying to get through the border. They were supposed to roll that back at the end of the month, but it doesn't look like they're going to keep that promise. So those are the things we're going to go over, and of course answer any of your questions. So feel free to post questions and jump on and say hi. I like to know where you guys are watching from. So I have to put on my my glasses a lot of the time, so if you ask questions, I can read them. All right, so first of all, let me start off by talking about the Attorney General decision that came out a few days ago. And also I'll mention before I go into that, regarding the diversity visa litigation, the H-1B litigation, any of the other litigation that we have pending. I won't be doing updates on that stuff today, but I will direct you to Mr. Kuck's Twitter, which is CKUCK at CKUCK, and that's where you're going to find the latest updates on a lot of that stuff. And you can also scroll down on our Facebook page and look for the last update that he did. So we try to jump on and tell you guys anytime anything happens with the litigation. Hi, Alon. Hi, Saleh. Thank you for joining. I'm not going to be giving really any of those updates on litigation today. I'm just going to be doing some pretty general immigration updates, just that are of interest to me and I think will be interesting to various people. So the Attorney General a couple of days ago, or a few days ago, issued a decision repealing a decision that was issued by the Attorney General under the Trump administration. And what the decision under the Trump administration said was that if the prosecutor and the defense attorney, so the we call him the trial attorney or the assistant chief counsel attorney, the attorney for the government, and the defense attorney of the respondent agree that certain things are not contested issues, like, for example, that a person has been here 10 years, if that's an element that needs to be proven and there's no argument over whether that's been met, then the judge doesn't have to analyze it. It's agreed upon. It's not contested. It doesn't have to be analyzed, is what it used to be. But that decision under, I think it was, I don't remember if it was Sessions or Barr, said that judges now have to review everything, even if it's not contested. So basically giving judges the ability and authority to like poke holes in things that nobody even talked about, which wouldn't be fair. It doesn't seem fair, and it's a waste of time, and isn't necessarily favorable to the respondent. So that decision was rolled back, and the Attorney General said that, you know, immigration judges can rely on stipulations. So if we stipulate to the fact that an element has been met, then that's all good. That increases efficiency, increases the ability for people to work together. You know, in court, the primary motivation should be to seek the truth and do what's best for the country and the respondent. So a lot of times that's on the same side. So if we can agree on some things, we can move things along and help people and help everything work together smoothly. All right. Another thing that I mentioned is that the Title 42, it's like a public health regulation that's being used to turn people away at the border, put them into expedited removal proceedings, was going to be rolled back July 31st. We've now heard that that's not the case, that the Biden administration is going to continue using it. I think they're trying to use the resurgence of the Delta variant. It's disappointing for immigration advocates because I think that utilizing these laws that deprive people of due process and deprive people of mechanisms that are in place to seek safety, like apply for asylum and things like that, is, in the greater scheme of things, really important. And not saying that public health isn't important, but this sort of response is disappointing because it acts like there are not other solutions. And there are other solutions, especially when it comes to maintaining and preventing COVID. We don't need to just throw out the baby with the bathwater. Let's put it that way. Okay, so immigration reform, we're all watching with bated breath on pins and needles, hoping that this budget reconciliation is going to happen. They're supposed to go on recess after the first week of August. So we're all hoping that something's going to go through before then. Well, we got a little bit of a signal of bad news that it might not be going as smoothly and as quickly as we all were hoping for. Democrat Senator Sinema from Arizona announced or issued a statement that basically the amount's too high, that she won't sign off on anything. She's not even talking about what's in the budget reconciliation. She's just saying that overall amount of 3.5 trillion is too high. So, you know, the Dems need every single vote that they can get, unless they're able to pull some from across the aisle. But at this point, they are, I think, strategizing that they just need to get everybody on board. So we'll see how much pull Sinema has to try to bring that number down, or if they have any leverage on her to just make her vote yes anyway. I don't know. She holds herself out to be in the same vein as John McCain. You know, she comes from that same area of the country, and holds herself out to be an independent. So she'll do what she thinks is right, is sort of her brand. And we'll just have to see where those talks go. We're still hearing that in what's proposed, Dreamers, farm workers, and potentially essential workers would all be, and that sometimes I see reporting that TPS is also covered and sometimes I don't. So it's hard to know until we actually see the bill. But I think that essential workers component would be really, really special as well. But Dreamers, farm workers, huge, could help so many people. So we've got a big eye, got an eye on that with big hopes that that's going to get through this summer. Because, man, they're running out of time.
Okay, so speaking of TPS, let me go ahead and move on to that topic. I didn't really hear about it in any of the national press, but TPS was redesignated for a few different countries. And that's really important for people who missed the original designation and didn't have a reason to late file. So it creates a new window of time. TPS is a wonderful thing, but it is a very finite period of time that you have to be in the country at a right time and apply within a certain period of time. So if you miss that window for whatever reason, then you would be ineligible. That's why a redesignation is so huge, because it reopens it, creates a new window of time where people can apply. So we may have the train going by here in just a second, so ignore that. But it looks like there was a redesignation for Somalia on July 19th, a redesignation for Yemen. We knew about the redesignation for Haiti because I talked about that one on here in May. And then we've still got Venezuela. Everybody knows about that. Syria, Burma. Burma's also called Myanmar. So those are all the TPS countries that we currently have open, redesignated, and available for people to file. Okay. All right. Let me go through some of these comments and see if we have any questions. Oh boy, look at all these emojis. Hi, Soleil. Okay, let's see. Alan, can I ask you, about the lottery? I don't have any updated information on the DV lottery litigation. All right. I do know that a lot of you with a lot of DV recipients are waiting to consular process, or some people are in the US waiting to adjust. And I know time is running out and everyone is getting really stressed. We had a great victory this week where we got a DV client and his family adjusted. They just happened to be eligible for adjustment here in the US based on the DV. So that was exciting. Timing is everything. Even if you're not able to, we'll see. We'll see. The Delta variant's resurging, COVID's still in play. The consulates are still doing crazy things as far as whether or not they're going to schedule interviews. KCC is ridiculous as far as trying to get a response, get an interview scheduled. This is just a nightmare. It's a mess. And I guess this is where litigation is so important. So we're hoping that is a tool that's going to help reserve some of these numbers and eligibility for people to still utilize those diversity visas that they won. Okay, so that's a bunch of TPS redesignation. So if any of those countries apply to you as a place where either that is your national origin, or you don't have nationality but you habitually resided in one of those countries prior to coming to the US, then TPS may be a great opportunity for you. What does TPS do? TPS gives you permission to be here in the United States temporarily. It also provides you the opportunity to get a work permit and to get potentially a travel permit, okay? And those TPS is designated for 18 months at a time, but we see that many times it gets renewed several times. So if you're, thinking ahead, you're planning ahead, remember that these designations close. So if you have the opportunity to file for TPS and a potential benefit for TPS holders to adjust to or to have a path to citizenship open up with this immigration reform, you want to make sure that you're in the TPS bus. You're already on the bus headed in that direction, not that you missed the bus and you could have had a path to citizenship
But because you didn't apply for a TPS during that finite window, you missed the bus. I will caution you that some of these redesignations, including Haiti, which happened in May, still haven't released the instructions for filing. So we're still waiting for that. So I'm talking about rushing you and making sure you don't miss an opportunity, but there are some practical challenges that are delaying us in filing those, okay? All right, let's talk about the Canadian government said that they're easing travel restrictions if you're fully vaccinated. If you're not vaccinated, you may want to consider getting vaccinated. I think that is going to be important. If you are undocumented or you're worried about your status being a factor in getting vaccinated, it's pretty clear from everything I've read that your status should not impact your ability to get a free vaccine. So make sure you ask your health department, your doctor's office, clinics, urgent cares, anything you can about getting the vaccine if you haven't had it already. And if you have questions about that, talk to a doctor. Don't just read what's in the news. Talk to your doctor or a doctor that you trust, or go to your health department or urgent care or clinic and try to talk with somebody about, or even I think some of the pharmacies are doing it. Talk to your pharmacist. These are people who, you know, do this every day and see, kind of like we are with immigration law, they are with medicine. So ask their opinion on what they think you should do with the vaccine. Okay, so, okay, Laura, let's see. Laura says, mi hijo tiene DACA, bajo qué circunstancias puede pedir advance parole para viajar diciembre. ¿Qué excusa tiene que tener? Vacaciones no es una razón fuerte. Esta razón necesita o tiene que tener una cosa como visitar familiares, y es una razón humanitaria. So, este familiar o esta persona de su familia tiene enfermedades o cosas como así. O es una persona muy viejo y es posible que este tiempo es la última vez que su hijo puede ver su abuela o abuelo. O otra razón es escuela o una clase de escuela o un viaje de negocio. Okay. So, es posible. Él necesita una razón más fuerte de vacaciones, ¿ok? Entonces, si usted quisiera hablar más de eso, hacer o programa una consulta, ¿ok, Laura? Gracias por su pregunta. Okay, let's see, we're getting some more questions. Good afternoon. If I'm going to, Ariana, good afternoon. If I'm going to apply for my citizenship, is it recommended to apply for my husband as well? He's been here since the age of 9. Okay, Ariana, that's a good question. We don't have enough facts for me to necessarily give you a full analysis, but I would say green card holders can apply for their spouses. However, it's not as easy and straightforward of a process. So you have two options. You can apply for your spouse as a green card holder, and when you naturalize, you can ask to upgrade the petition so that your spouse could potentially adjust their status here in the U.S., or they could consular process as a spouse of a green card holder if, say, your citizenship is delayed or denied for some reason. Another option would be to wait until you have your citizenship and then apply.
you know, there are lots of different factors in that, including like an analysis of whether consular processing and a waiver would be appropriate, whether you guys have a good case for that. So I think the best thing for you to do, Ariana, is to schedule a consultation with one of our attorneys. If you'd like to talk with me, the number's been put in the comments for the South Georgia office. It's 229-472-5775. And I'd be happy to talk with you in more detail. All right, let's see what else we've got. Alan is asking, Mr. Summer Lauder's graduates received visas in 2020 because of COVID and they couldn't travel. Yes. Okay, so we don't know what's going to happen with the people who were not able to utilize their visas in 2020 because of COVID. I know there's several lawsuits asking for those to be like held depending on the category the visa was issued in. It may be that they're just lost. Maybe if it was a visitor visa and the time has already run, which usually visitor visas are issued for 10 years and then you're given periods of authorized stay from like 3 to 6 months when you use the visitor visa. So you shouldn't be in that situation. I imagine your question is mostly about like a fiance visa, a diversity lottery visa, things like that. We've got to just wait and see what happens with the litigation and whether or not those visas are going to be able to be somehow frozen or still utilized. Okay, so Alana, I don't have an answer for you on that today, but stay tuned. I think that you will, you'll see some news regarding that, hopefully sooner rather than later. Okay, folks, we only have a few minutes left, so if anybody else has questions, please feel free to post them. And thank you so much for all the comments and the questions. I love seeing y'all join me. Okay, let's see. I think I've gotten through everyone. Alam says that the connection isn't good. I know sometimes the connection is not good down here in South Georgia. We don't have great internet. That's why people keep asking the governor and the federal government to bring broadband to rural communities because it's so important for building businesses and for students and colleges, etc., for growth. So important for growth. The only other thing that I have on my list to talk about, unless you guys ask any questions, is just to briefly reference the situation in Cuba. It does seem like the situation in Cuba is becoming increasingly dire. It sounds like 5 generals have been killed. People are still demonstrating in the street. I don't hear any talk that the U.S. government is going to intervene in any meaningful way, whether that impacts people that are trying to immigrate to the U.S. You know, the secretary, I think Mayorkas, gave a statement that Cubans would be turned away. These situations just are really, really frustrating because we know that people are fleeing for their lives and safety, and it's really sad that our government is putting statements out that people should not come here. So in my opinion, I'm probably going to get some mad faces based on that. Sometimes when I give my opinion, I get mad faces because I definitely have certain feelings about the way immigration law should be applied in this country. So that can't please everybody all the time. Some people may hate me, but that's why I do this work and why I love it so much, because I believe in this country. All right, so okay, we got a few questions coming in. Alam, you are a lottery winner. Okay. We'll see. Hopefully 2022 is going to go a lot smoother. We'll see. Okay. More reason for everybody to get vaccinated. Okay. Itzol is asking about her husband entered with a work visa. I'm a U.S. citizen. His work visa expired. How long would it take to adjust his status? Would he ever have to leave the country? He's never been in trouble with the law. So this is a great question because it highlights an opportunity to talk about adjustment of status. So if you're married to a U.S. citizen and you entered with inspection, if you entered with a visa, a work visa, for example, and then you overstayed, your U.S. citizen spouse can petition for you as long as you don't have any bars to, like criminal bars to adjustment. And you haven't been here before, maybe accumulated unlawful presence, left and re-entered, all of that. If you just entered one time, used a visa, married to a U.S. citizen, that's an immediate relative petition. And that is pretty, in the grand scheme of immigration law, it's a pretty easy and straightforward application. All right. So in that case, in that instance, a person doesn't have to consular process, doesn't have to go out of the country. Everything can be done right here. While that packet is pending, people qualify for a work permit, which is in Georgia, allows you to get a driver's license, social security number, etc. So it's a great process. It does take a little while. So I would plan on an adjustment petition taking around a year from start to finish. Sometimes they go a lot faster, sometimes they don't. We also, usually have an interview in an immediate relative petition, spousal petition, and we just don't really know what's going on with COVID. We could see interviews stalled again. So that's why I hesitate to say, that it could be faster. Because I do know that USCIS has a backlog from all of those interviews being postponed because of COVID. They are interviewing a lot of people, as many as they can right now, but we've got some practical challenges there. So I think that is a great opportunity for you all. And it also highlights that a lot of people who are not familiar with the immigration process think that it's really easy for people if they marry an American. I have heard people think, and I mean, there's nothing wrong with not clearly understanding the law if you've not been exposed to it or have real life opportunity to understand it. If you marry an American, regardless of how you came, when you came, etc., you're just automatically a citizen. Or you just have to file paperwork and that's it. That's not the case, folks. It's a lot more complicated. And if you entered with inspection or you entered without inspection, you're in two different worlds as far as immigration processing, especially through a marriage-based petition. So talk to a good immigration lawyer. You can talk to us through scheduling a consultation. We'll be happy to go over all that stuff with you if you wonder how things can be applied to your case. And if you know of people, if you don't know the law and this is all new to you and you want to learn more, watch some of our videos and you can learn about how complicated the immigration process can be. If you are married to a person without status or from another country and you want to learn more, feel free to call us. I'll be happy to help. It may be a more complicated process if you entered without inspection, but it's not impossible. All right, we can help you through that. So that's about all for me today. My time's about up. I appreciate all your great questions and spending time with you. Like I said, it's super hot out there, so stay cool. And if you are taking your lunch break or working outside, be careful. And thank you for what you do. All right, have a great day, y'all. I'll see you next week. Bye.